Mike, what are you doing here, man? You already
What's
got
up? Wow, that's amazing.
You already got baked 2 times. Now you want to come back again?
Sure.
You're getting boring, man. You said you're ex-Christian?
I am. I was raised Catholic. I was an altar boy. I went to
Defend
Blessed Sacrament.
the Trinity. Defend the Trinity for me, as you
Okay.
understood it.
Okay. Can God do anything?
Anything that is logically possible. That's right.
Okay. That's an interesting parameter. I didn't know about anything that's logically possible. So Gog and Magog are imprisoned behind a.
I said explain the Trinity. I didn't tell you to talk about Gog and Magog.
Okay, but I asked if God can do anything. You said anything that's logically possible. So then
Yes.
I segued
So tell me, explain the Trinity as you understood it. Go ahead.
Well, to be honest, I thought you were going to say yes. Allah can do anything. So when you said no,
I did say yes.
Oh no, you said anything that's logically possible.
Right, because a thing is that which is logically possible. That's what a thing is.
Okay.
So God can do all things.
Logically possible.
Yes, a thing is that which is logically possible.
Okay.
Would you say is a square circle a thing?
For God, it could be, right?
For God can create a square circle?
Sure. Why not?
What would it look like when he does it?
I you don't
know what you're answering then. When you say yes, you actually don't know what you're saying yes to.
But it's Muslims who believe in the unseen, right? Isn't that
I believe in the unseen, but the unseen is not logically impossible. It's logically possible.
Okay, so how could the Trinity could be the unseen?
No, because the Trinity is logically impossible, so it can't be the unseen.
Well, Gog and Magog existing behind a mountain range in the east is logically impossible.
What's the logical contradiction?
There would have to be trillions of them.
What's the logical contradiction?
Well, the hadith that says 999 of every 1,000 souls in hell will be from Gog and Magog.
So what's the logical contradiction? There's 3 laws of logic: the law of identity, law of excluded middle, and law of non-contradiction. What law of logic does it violate to have Gog and Magog?
The law of geography. How have we not come
across that's not a law of logic, and there's no such thing as law of geography.
Well, I don't know.
It's not logically impossible.
These laws of whatever.
Then it's not logically. So it's not logic. Are you an undercover Christian, Michael?
No, I was raised Christian, as I've said.
So what are you now?
I'm an atheist.
Why are you an atheist?
I don't believe in God.
Why?
Because I've read the Quran, I've read the Bible, I've read Siddhartha. I know a little bit about Buddhism.
Just because. Let's say all of those are false. It doesn't mean God doesn't exist.
That's true. I used to say agnostic, but it seems like a cop out to me. But you can call me.
Okay, so an atheist is a denier of the theistic claim. That's what it is. To be an atheist is to say there is no God.
Correct.
Do you have any evidence of that claim?
No.
Okay, so then you don't know whether there's a God or not. So you are an agnostic.
Okay, that's fine.
My point is, what if I told you that? What if I told you that the existence of God is logically necessary?
I would disagree. I think the universe is eternal. I think you froze. Uh-oh. Did Allah or the jinn freeze you?
I'm back. So what if I told you the existence of God is logically necessary?
I would say, okay. You can believe that.
Would you like Would you like an argument? Would you like to defend an argument for that?
Sure. If P has to follow Q.
All right, good. All right. Can you please tell me, do you believe that truth exists?
Yes.
Okay. Do you believe that necessary truths exist? Truths that cannot be otherwise in any possible world?
Sure.
Can you give me an example of that?
We don't fly off the planet due to gravity.
Well, gravity could be otherwise in a possible world, in another world. Gravity could just be different. There's another conceivable world where there is no gravity.
Oh, you're talking like multiverse?
No, I'm talking about possibility.
Possibilities are endless. Sure.
Okay, good. So I'm asking about truths that could be otherwise in another possible world. So can there exist a world where two objects beside two objects is not four objects?
I would think math has to be true in all universes.
Okay, good. I agree. Okay. So that's an example of an absolute truth, a truth that exists in every possible world. Now, truths, do they have conceptual existence, or do they exist outside of the mind? Are they abstract?
I would think both. They're both abstract and physical.
So 2 plus 2 is 4 is physical. I can touch it, feel it, smell it, hear it.
Yes.
What does 2 plus 2 taste like?
Well, it depends on what you're licking. If it's a flower, it's going to taste differently than a piece of coal.
Maybe you're not understanding. Okay. So when there's so truth is composed out of three aspects. There's the truth maker, the truth bearer, and the truth value. Okay. If I say this object is black, okay, the truth maker is the object itself. The truth bearer is the language in which the sentence is structured by. The sentence itself, this object is black, that bears the truth. And the truth value is just what can be derived from that sentence. Okay? So I'm asking about truth values. Do they exist in the mind or outside of the mind?
Truth values.
So when I say the tree is green,
right?
I'm not talking about does the tree exist outside of the mind. I'm not saying
obviously black and green are languages, and somebody might call black blue, and somebody might call red green.
That's not what I'm asking either.
Okay.
The truth value itself, what is derived from the statement, does that have physical existence, or is it just conceived in the mind?
Well, if you're pointing at a tree that physically exists, it has
no. But I'm not. But the tree is not the truth. The truth describes the tree. So I'm not asking about that. I'm asking about.
I would disagree. Value. I think the tree is the truth.
The tree is the truth?
Sure. If you run into the tree and knocks you unconscious, it is the truth. Your belief that the tree exists is not the truth.
Dude, you're missing the point.
Apparently. Explain it to me again. I don't know why we're going into all this philosophical stuff, but go ahead.
All right. Let's try it again. Okay. So when I say the sky is blue,
mm-hmm.
where is the truth value here?
Well, the sky may not be blue to a dog or a donkey.
That's fine. That's
the
fine.
Human iris that sees mostly blue within the spectrum.
That's not the point. Observably, when somebody says the sky is blue, in whatever context that is, there's the sky itself, but the sky itself is not identical to the statement or the truth value that is derived. Okay? If I say Mike is American, okay? That sentence, Mike is American, is not Mike. Mike is not a sentence.
Right.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So the sentence, Mike is American, is the truth. The truth describes Mike, who's a concrete existing reality. Good so far? So the truth here is not Mike himself. Rather, the truth is derived out of Mike, or it's about Mike. It describes Mike. So that truth that describes Mike is it a physical existence, or does it only exist in the mind as a conceptualization?
Well, it would be within the mind. I mean, the whole
Right.
concept of American is
Good.
conceptual
There we
within the
go.
mind.
So then truth values only exist in the mind. Okay? Good. Now you said there are things such as things that are true in every world, in every circumstance, in every scenario, like mathematics. These things are eternally true. If truths require a mind to conceptualize them, and there are such things as eternal truths, then it follows there must be an eternal mind to conceptualize the truth. Who's the eternal mind?
The universe.
The universe is a mind?
Sure.
Okay. Okay. So the universe itself is a rational being, is a mental agent with mental acts, and it conceptualizes all truths?
Yes.
Okay, so you just believe in God then?
Sure. We can make the universe God.
Is the universe eternal?
Yes.
You don't believe in the Big Bang?
Yeah, but the universe has changed forms.
Right. So the
Bang.
universe began.
No. The universe as we know it began. But
Right.
before that, the universe existed in a different form.
Okay. So that's God. So you believe in God. You believe in it. So let me just confirm. You believe in an eternal, self-existent being that has a mind and consciousness.
Sure.
So you're not an atheist. You're a theist, sir.
You're right. I'm a deist.
So then why did you, so then you believe in God? Why did you say that you're an atheist in the beginning?
Well, just because, I don't believe in your God. I don't believe in the God of the Abrahamics.
Okay, good. And do you believe that there could be more than one God?
Sure.
Okay. And when we say God, we're talking about ultimate realities. That which is the prime mover. Could be there more than one prime mover?
Well, you would
Or
think
primary agent?
one or two have to start at the beginning. Maybe some God could kill another God. I don't know if you ever watched.
But then that's not an ultimate God, because that's a changing God. Anything that is changing could be otherwise in another world.
Right. But does God have to be ultimate?
Yes. Because
why can't God live and die?
Because you just conceded that anything that could be otherwise is contingent. Okay? Meaning, if there is something that I can conceive of that could be another way, then there must be an explanation for why it's this way and not that way. And there is a world in which this thing doesn't exist. So it's not necessary to sustain existence. Okay? God exists in every possible world, therefore is unchanging and eternal, and is the case in every world. Because if he wasn't, then he can't be God, he can't be eternal, and he himself requires an explanation.
Well, how do you have proof of that?
Well, I just told you, anything that exists contingently requires an explanation for why it exists this way and not another way.
Well, no, that's not proof of anything. That's just a concept.
No, it's evidence. So just listen, okay? This is philosophical evidence, okay? If something exists, if it exists one way, but could exist another way, there must be an explanation for why it's this way and not that way.
Okay, so if, let's say I create something. Let's say I cut down a tree and I turn it into
let's say you cut it into two halves.
Right.
Okay. Could you have cut it into four?
Sure.
So what's the explanation that this tree is found cut in two and not in four? Because there's an agent
I chose not to
decided that it would be two.
Okay.
So the explanation is that there's a cause behind an intelligent mind that decided that it would cut it into two instead of four. It didn't just happen out of nowhere.
Right.
That it's naturally two and not two and not. Do you understand?
Okay. So I cut the stream 2, right? I laid out in my backyard for 50 years. I die. And now people find the tree cut into 2.
And the explanation is still you.
Right. But I'm not a god.
You don't have to be a god. This has
but I've left something behind.
Yeah, but we haven't gotten there yet.
Okay.
Because you yourself need an explanation. Your name is Mike, okay? Right. And you're a human being. And you are the certain way that you are. But there's another world. There's a conceivable reality where you could have been something else or someone else. Or you could have had, you've had a full head of hair. In this world,
I had a full head of hair, yes.
Yeah. So, beautiful. Right. And so I can conceive of a world where you still have your full head of hair. You understand? Or a world where your vision is not weak, that you have to wear glasses. You wear them for medical reasons, right?
Yeah, these are readers. They're like one.
Yeah, exactly. So then you yourself are a contingent existence, and you require yourself an explanation. So now we're in a regress. You require an explanation. The universe itself requires an explanation. So there must have been something before it that dictated it to be the way that it is. Either two options. Either we have an infinite regress of contingent causes, and that's impossible because we would never reach our world or this time period. Or there is an entity that is necessary, not contingent, that couldn't have been any other way in any other world, that doesn't need an explanation for why it's this way and not another way, because it couldn't have been another way. You understand? So that is what we call God, and there can only be one of those things.
Okay. Well, thank you for your time. I appreciate the explanation. Maybe I'll come back on and we can talk a little bit more about blasphemy. I saw you on Christian Prince or something. You got upset. You said, I'll bury you. And he said, like Muhammad, and somehow that was blasphemous. I've myself been accused of blasphemy on YouTube, and I'm not sure why. I don't know if you're familiar with some of the Indonesian cases where the woman asked if the mosque could turn their loudspeaker down, and they threw her in jail for 18.
Yeah, well, we could talk about that another time, man. No problem.
Okay. Nice to meet you, Tom. If I may suggest, you get some merch that says Tom, and then do your script under it, the Orthodox Muslim, cooking coffers, something like that.
All right, man. Like you, right?
That's right. You got to cook your coffers, man.
All right, man. Have a good one, man.
All right. Take it.